Vanakkam. Now, this is going to be a very, very interesting session, and it contains so many parts. That is, an auditor, as a chartered accountant, you have to be very, very careful in doing the bank audit because it is stated by Reserve Bank of India that in case any chartered accountant has not find the bank fraud during the course of his audit, then that auditor or chartered accountant is held personally responsible for the loss to the bank apart from losing our certificate in case our insured is taken any action. So, as a chartered accountant, you have to be very, very careful if you find any fraud. So, there are a lot of ways to find the fraud. But before going to that, I want to share the definitions of fraud as per the various acts. Reserve Bank says a bank fraud is a deliberate act of omission or commission by any person carried out in the course of a banking transaction or in the books of account maintained manually or under computerized system in banks, resulting into wrongful gain to any person for a temporary period or otherwise with or without monetary loss to the bank. So this is the RBI definition, and RBI has informed that if an accounting professional, whether in the course of internal or external audit or in the course of statutory audit, finds anything susceptible to be a fraud or fraudulent activity or act of excess power or small any foul play in any transactions, he should report to the regulator. Hence, accounting professionals are advised to specifically report simultaneously to the Chief Executive Officer of the bank and to RBI, Central Office of Department of Supervision, Mumbai, about the matter susceptible to be fraud or fraudulent activity or any foul play in any transactions. Please note that any failure on chartered accountant part should render themselves liable for action. This is the guidelines issued by RBI. So, as an auditor, whoever goes for the bank audit, they should be very, very careful in doing the audit. Because we are all capable to identify the fraud. So, if there is any fraud, you have to report it. Otherwise, we have to face the action from the RBI as well as from the insured. Then they said that at one stage they said that even the auditor is held personally responsible. Suppose in case if you have omitted to report say 2 crores, then you will be made as a party to the agreement. So you have to be very, very careful, because if you are not detecting the fraud, then your certificate is in danger. So I am just giving you caution. Please do the audit carefully. Then, as per section 447 of the Companies Act of 2013, it defines fraud in relation to the affairs of the company of any body corporate to include an act, omission, concealment of any fact, abuse of position committed by any person or any other person with the convenience in any manner with intent to deceive, to gain undue advantage from, or to injure the interests of the company, its shareholders, or its creditors, or any other person, whether or not there is a wrongful gain or wrongful loss. Wrongful gain means the gain by unlawful means of property to which the person gaining is not legally entitled. Wrongful loss means the loss by unlawful means of any of property to which the person losing is legally entitled. Fraud is also defined in para 11A of SA 240 issued by the ICAI. Auditor's responsibilities relating to fraud in audit of financial statement as an intentional act by one or more individuals among the management, those charged with governance, employees or third parties involving use of deception to obtain an unjust or an illegal advantage. Similarly, standards on internal audit, that is SIA 11, issued by ICAI in consideration of fraud in an internal audit, defined fraud as an intentional act by one or more individuals among management, those charged with governance or third parties involving the use of deception to obtain unjust or illegal advantage. A fraud could take form of misstatement of an information, financial or otherwise, or misappropriation of assets of that entity. This is the thing they said about fraud under various acts. Even in Contract Act of 1872, as per section 17, fraud means and includes any of the following acts committed by a party to a contract or with his connivance or by his agent with an intent to deceive another party thereto or his agent or to induce him to enter into the contract. So these are the various definitions given under various acts. So I want to start this session on fraud detection. By way of this introduction, I request you to be careful in doing the audit. You have to apply all your experience in identifying the fraud, if any, at the branch. Once again, I'm repeating, if any fraud is undetected during the course of audit, then the auditor is personally held responsible to the loss to the bank apart from losing our certificate. This is the caution I want to give to you by way of this video presentation. This is only a starting video. I will cover all parts of basic fraud, how to report, and what are the various types of frauds that has taken place in the banking scenario. I think that will go even into a lot of parts of videos in fraud area. I'll go step by step because it is the base to identify the fraud. Then reporting of fraud is also important. Identifying the fraud is one thing and reporting the fraud is another thing. Even in LFIR 0.5 from under frauds, the long form body report they said furnish particulars of frauds discovered during the year under audit. That means under year audit. So that means your audit at the branch together with your suggestion. That means they want the suggestion from you, if any, to minimize the possibilities of their occurrence. So if any fraud is there, then you have to report and you have to give your suggestion how this fraud is being reduced. So this is a thing. Even in my earlier videos, I said while entering into the branch, you have to give a letter stating that you have to give a letter to the branch manager stating that is there any fraud that has taken place in earlier years, because this year you have to go and do the audit. In earlier year, if there is any fraud, you have to get a confirmation letter from the branch head saying that this has happened or there is no fraud involved. This is a specific certificate you have to get from the branch manager, because this will save your skin, because we have to bother about our certificate. So with this, I conclude this introductory part of video presentation on fraud detection, and particularly it is related to the bank frauds I am going to cover. This is very important area. Please go and view entire video presentation. And before winding up, I want to make a request. Kindly subscribe to my YouTube channel, Ravindran V. Thanks for watching this introductory video presentation on bank fraud detection. Nandri, Vanakkam.